Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Tonight we're learning even more about how Donald Trump finally got the Department of Justice to go after James Comey, former FBI director who notably refused to do Trump's bidding in his first term, was fired because of it, a man who became a vocal critic of the administration after Trump fired him, a man who was indicted by a grand jury in Virginia yesterday on 2 counts, making a false statement and obstruction. Now, those indictments were secured by a first-time prosecutor named Lindsay Halligan. Big case to have as your first case. She was Donald Trump's personal attorney. She then became a White House staff secretary. And Trump handpicked her as U.S. attorney on Monday expressly for the purpose of bringing charges against Comey and perhaps some others. Today, MSNBC.
President Donald Trump has once again used the power of the presidency to target his political adversaries. Following the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey, Trump has openly threatened to pursue similar legal actions against other critics, including former CIA Director John Brennan, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and Senator Adam Schiff. This marks a disturbing escalation in his campaign to weaponize the justice system against those who oppose him.
He is reporting that when Halligan brought the Comey charges to a grand jury yesterday, she found herself the lone representative of a 300-member office spearheading a case that her predecessor and many of the assistant U.S. attorneys who report to her considered too weak to bring charges. Halligan only got 14 of the 23 grand jurors to indict Comey on those 2 counts, and they declined to indict him on a 3rd charge. So a little bit of a hair my chinny chin chin kind of performance there. In a series of social media posts after the indictment was announced, Trump declared justice in America and called Comey a destroyer of lives and a dirty cop and a lot of other things. Today, a reporter asked Trump if there would be more prosecutions of people on his enemies list, and the president said that.
James Comey faces charges of making false statements to Congress and obstructing a Senate hearing concerning the FBI's handling of the 2016 election investigations. Legal experts suggest the case is weak and politically motivated, potentially serving as retribution from Trump, who resumed the presidency in 2025 and has increasingly used executive powers to target perceived political enemies.
Yes.
It's not a list, but I think there'll be others. I mean, they're corrupt. These were corrupt, radical left Democrats. There'll be others. Look, that's my opinion. They weaponized the Justice Department like nobody in history.
There will be others. 8 months in, Donald Trump is making his personal revenge the law of the land. It is the most aggressively forthright attempt at suppressing dissent that I've seen in my lifetime, and I think that we've seen in a very long time in this country. It started with allegations of mortgage fraud against New York State Attorney General Letitia James, who successfully sued Trump's business for fraud, and California Senator Adam Schiff, who led Trump's
public comments have intensified the controversy. He referred to Comey as a dirty cop and expressed hope that more of his critics would face criminal charges, especially corrupt radical left Democrats. This rhetoric raises serious concerns about the politicalization of the Department of Justice and the erosion of democratic norms.
First impeachment trial in Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, who's the first black woman to sit on the Fed board, and who the president's currently trying to fire, although he's been barred by courts from doing so. But it's really accelerated in the last week. In the last week, we had Trump's FCC chairman going on a far-right podcast and openly threatening ABC and Disney and the affiliate networks to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air, ostensibly for the comments the late-night host made about Charlie Kirk's killer. And then just before the announcement of Comey's indictment yesterday, Trump signed an executive order in the Oval Office targeting what the White House calls domestic terrorist networks. But if you listen to White House policy advisor Stephen Miller, it sure sounds like they are talking about protesters.
Attorney General Pam Bondi authorized the deployment of DOJ agents to ICE facilities, escalating enforcement under a new presidential memorandum on domestic terrorism. The FBI reportedly fired 20 agents who knelt during a 2020 protest, signaling broader purges under the Trump administration. These actions suggest a broader campaign to suppress dissent and consolidate power.
And critics of the administration.
What we have seen, if you look at whether it be going back to the riots that started with Black Lives Matter and all the way through to the Antifa riots, the attacks on ICE officers, the doxing campaigns, and now the political assassinations. These are not lone, isolated events. This is part of an organized campaign of radical left terrorism. It is structured, it is sophisticated, it is well-funded, it is well-planned.
They want to go after anyone who opposes Trump because they think opposing Trump is proof that you are un-American, and because they want to consolidate a regime in a country where you won't have the rights that we've come to expect and enjoy. When asked about who might be targeted under the order, Trump named names.
Soros is a name certainly that I keep.
Public reaction to these developments has been mixed. While some support the administration's efforts to enforce accountability, others fear the potential negative impact on democratic institutions. Protests have erupted in various cities, with demonstrators urging the government to reconsider its approach and prioritize the independence of legal processes over political vendettas.
Hearing, I don't know, but Soros is a name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people.
George Soros, of course, the Hungarian-born American financier and Holocaust survivor, who's donated millions to Democratic candidates and to progressive causes and to all sorts of causes. For years, George Soros did it has been a kind of grand unified theory of right-wing conspiracies and around the world, including right-wing populists and aspiring dictators in other countries. Well, now Donald Trump is ready to deputize the government to investigate him for what? For being an active member of civil society? I mean, this is it, right? This is what it looks like. This is what we have feared, what we warned about, the full conversion of the power of the federal government into a...
In conclusion, Trump's threats to pursue more indictments are a chilling reminder of his willingness to politicize the Justice Department. By targeting critics under the guise of legal action, he undermines public trust in institutions meant to operate independently. The world is watching, and America's democracy hangs in the balance.